Girl Interrupted, 1999 film directed by James Mangold, based on a memoir by Susanna Kaysen, stars Winona Ryder, Angelina Jolie, who won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for this film, Clea Duvall, Brittany Murphy, Elizabeth Moss, Whoopi Goldberg, and Jared Leto. The story behind the film is that Winona Ryder was so impressed with the book that she ended up buying the rights to it herself and then spent several years trying to get the project off the ground. When it finally got going, there was a lot of interest from all of the young actresses at the time, because the film was quite unique in the way that it featured not just one or two, but several meaty, interesting roles for women. And honestly, that would make it a bit unique even today, when still that rarely happens. The film follows Susanna, played by Winona Ryder, an 18-year-old girl who is rescued after a suicide attempt involving a bottle of aspirin and vodka. She overdosed on substances, and she's clearly had some previous experiences with substance abuse. She's depressed, she's had casual sexual adventures, and so she eventually gets committed into the mental asylum. In there, she meets a number of other young girls who are each to a varying degree unwell. One of them in particular catches Susanna's attention, and vice versa, the charismatic sociopath Lisa, played by Angelina Jolie. The two of them begin spending more and more time together, which inevitably leads to trouble. So it's one of those cases where the film has everything going for it. It's got an accomplished director, a well-written story, good performances. Technically speaking, everything is fine with it. Critics like it. People I know told me to watch it, that they've enjoyed it. And yet, somehow it didn't exactly work for me. And I have to say, I'm not exactly even sure why. The closest I've come to figuring it out is that I struggled to relate to or understand or sympathize with the main character. There was something about Susanna, or perhaps the way Winona Ryder played her, that just didn't click with me. And without that central emotional engagement, I just struggled to get into it. I did enjoy the first 15 minutes or so, which are a great example of editing as a storytelling tool, with the way the perspective jumps forward and backwards in time, making it confusing for us and for the protagonist who's experiencing it. And I did also like Angelina Jolie's performance and the way that her character is written to make the protagonist, and perhaps the audience as well, believe that she's this free-spirited, fun person who may appear rude and awful at the surface, but actually does care about others to some extent, only to then have that powerful suicide scene which removes all doubt and makes it clear that she never was anything else other than a total sociopath. I did, however, find the middle part of the film to be somewhat sluggish, and then the climax was a little too melodramatic and theatrical for my liking. But I still recognize that, objectively speaking, it's a well-made film. But if I can even use the term objectively speaking, because of course film, like any other art form, is impossible to judge objectively. It's always going to be a subjective opinion of the person experiencing it. And in this case, whether it's the emotional engagement or something even less tangible, the film just didn't wow me.